Next up on the Cosmic News Network, First Contact with Joshua Pert.
Good morning, Earthlings. Good. How you doing today? Good. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Welcome to First Contact Radio. To talk about all these things I'm talking about is because in life, everything is energy. Every single thing that's out there.
Yo, it's First Contact with Joshua Poet. He's the man on the mic, just in case you didn't know it. Covering news from all around the globe, from the weather and space to UFOs. He'll talk politics and make you open your eyes. Conspiracy theories and government lies. They'll dig it all up and try to find the proof. Cause it's time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We
It's time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We
It's time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio.
It's time to demand the truth.
Good morning, Earthlings. Welcome back to First Contact Radio. Glad you could be here. A new week is upon us. Today is the 20th of October, 2014. Our sun sign is in Libra only for a couple more days because we can see here on the 23rd we change to the next sign, which is Scorpio. Our moon sign today is Virgo. We're going to be there through the course of today before we move into the next sign early in the morning, 6 a.m., which will be a Libra. So as we finish out Scorpio, we know that Scorpio is the hermit. Scorpio is the one who, or the Virgo is the one who goes off to analyze, figure things out, understand a little bit more about the situation. And in the end, the hermit comes back with the light, with the information, with that bit of knowledge that is needed to heal the community. And so the hermit holds the lantern high for others to see, and that's where we're at. That's the moon sign. That's what's going on. We want to help each other. We want to find a way to shine the light. But on the outside, we're trying to figure out, how do we do that? How do we balance out all of the actions and the dealings in the world? Now, our aspects today are between the moon sign and Saturn. That is the first aspect. And then later on this evening between the moon and Mars. So we know that the moon, Mars, or the moon as Virgo, the hermit, is out there shining the light. Well, Saturn comes along, and Saturn was going to apply a bit of discipline to the way in which that is being done, but in a good way. So we find maybe a good system, a new way to do things. But then later this evening, that connection that goes is a bit more challenging because Mars wants to apply a bit of force, a bit of pressure to the situation. And so the hermit is going to have to go and look at what pushes the hermit's buttons and how those things can be avoided, so there's not any aggression, not any anger that comes into the mix. That whatever comes into the mix is a creative expression that can be utilized and analyzed in a way that the hermit can make it useful on how to help people, help the world. Does that make sense? Just think about that. You'll understand as it goes through. And then Mercury gets into the mix. Remember, Mercury is still retrograde. It gets in the mix with Jupiter, which means there's an expansion because Jupiter expands everything. Abundance is part of that. When things expand, they get bigger, abundant, growthful. Mercury is communication, so our communication expands is what we're seeing here. But remember, Mercury retrograde has us thinking before we speak, because we don't want to expand too much that we just start blabbing and not making any sense. So we want to utilize those energies to their best ability. The numerology for today is the number 1. Here's how we arrived at that. 1 plus 0 plus 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 0 plus 1 plus 4 altogether adds up to 10. 10, 1 and 0. 10 is the number of the Wheel of Fortune, and it becomes a 1. The Wheel of Fortune number 10 tells us seasons are changing, which they truly are, because we're going from a double digit now to a single digit. So we're going into this 1, focus, concentration. Mercury, again, is associated with number 1. Focused concentration, especially during this time of a Mercury retrograde. Retrograde, going back. A grade, going back to look at something previous, to rework something we've done, make sure it's the way we want it to be. It might be exactly the way you want it to be, but it's just a good time just to double check. All right, the tree of life, we could see our Mercury right here. Our number 1 is right here. I did mention the number 10. It's right here. Wheel of Fortune, which becomes the 1. Our Libra sign for today right here. Our moon sign, which is Virgo, is right here. Okay, we're getting ready to move into Scorpio next, both as our sun sign and as our moon sign. So that's upcoming. Today we're going to take a look at number 10. So we haven't really looked at number 10. Since it is part of today's numerology, I like to look at this here. Wheel of Fortune, because even though this isn't the final number, when we do the numerology, we ultimately get at number 1. But throughout the process, there are other numbers along the way, guideposts that we can look to help to understand a bit more. This is one of these situations. Because there are 22 letters in the Hebrew alphabet, 22 major arcana, I use the numbers 0 through 22 as the guidepost. So if there is a number that comes up that is within that range, then I look at that card for additional information. So in this case, when we reduce 2000, today's date, 10/20/2014, when we reduce that down to single numbers along the way, we get it to 10, which we now have because it's within the realm of 22. So we're going to look at this first, and then the 10 becomes the 1. So it tells us, first of all, rotation is the key assigned to the Wheel of Fortune. Everything changes. This is closely related to such ideas as spinning, circulation, rolling, whirling, wheeling, etc. What is meant here is that the symbology of this key refers to the initial whirling motion in the vast expanse of the root substance of the universe, which occultists call the limitless light. Differentiations of this primary motion cause all changes in form or quality on every plane. The title refers to the attribution of this key of the pair of opposites, wealth and poverty. The rewarding intelligence is attributed to it, and the planet Jupiter, which is called in astrology the greater fortune, is stated to have tremendous influence for prosperity and all benefits when well placed in a horoscope. The cherubic emblems, the bull, lion, eagle, and man, are all cherubs mentioned in Ezekiel and Revelation. They represent the 4 fixed signs of the zodiac. The wheel itself is the symbol of the whole cycle of the cosmic expression. The yellow serpent, whose movement suggests vibration, represents the involution of the cosmic radiant energy, or Fohat, into matter. The jackal-headed Hermanibus represents the evolution of consciousness from lower forms to higher. And finally, the Sphinx typifies the real self of man, having finished its evolutionary journey in the cycle of manifestation. Hebrew letter on this is Kaf, which is closed hand. Astrological sign is Jupiter. Key number 10. Okay, so this is an important key, and we really haven't dealt much with this one because we've just been looking at the final numbers. But this represents a season. We have the 4 fixed signs. It lets us know that the universe is solid, stable, fixed. There's an order to it that holds things in position. The wheel moves on. The vibrations of life move on. We go from one phase to the next in a very systematic manner. And when we pay attention to the cycles, we know, just like we know that winter is coming, and then spring, and then summer, and then fall. This is what this is. This is what it represents. The current moon phase is 10%, making our way to the new moon, where we will be on Wednesday. The sky, here's a little glimpse right here what we're seeing. We'll see the moon down low, and up high we'll see Leo. Regulus is here. Jupiter way up there. The annual Oroniid meteor shower should be active before dawn's first light this morning and for the next few mornings. The shower's radiant, apparent perspective point of origin is in the top of Orion's club, and this is the brightest before the morning twilight begins. Okay, here's another shot before sunrise. The Mayan Oracle, or on the wave spell of the human. Today's the 4th day of that. It's the self-existing day. The eagle is the symbol, which is all about vision. The guide is the monkey, which is about magic. So we have the self-existing vision guided by magic. A like-minded energy on this side is in the seed, which is planting, flowering, growth. The challenge for today is how we use our energy. The serpent and the hidden power is life, is the world of life and death, understanding how they are all connected. So here we are in this wave spell of free will, using our free will, and today we have the self-existing aspect of what we've learned. We've taken our free will, we've explored, we've checked out timelessness, and now we're going to apply some vision. The phrase for today is I define in order to create measuring mind. I seal the output of vision with the self-existing tone of form. I'm guided by the power of magic. Here in solar wind at spaceweather.com, we have a 488.6 kilometers per second. Planetary K index is unsettled at the moment. We've got a 4. Big old coronal gash right here. More facing us. Tells us between the 22nd and 23rd. Could be feeling the effects of that. M-class flare possibilities up to a 60%. X-class is at 20 geomagnetic storm activity, 25 in the mid-latitudes, as high as 40 in the upper latitudes. We did have a small X-class. Let's take a look at some of this here. We have sunspot AR 2192 is growing even bigger, spreading across 1/3 more solar terrain today than it did yesterday. The chances says 60%. There was a small X class that did occur. I don't see where it's at anymore. And also meteors from Halley's Comet. Earth is passing through a stream of debris from Halley's Comet, the source of the annual Oroniid meteor showers. They expect the shower to peak Tuesday morning, the 21st, with as many as 25 meteors per hour. The best time to look is during the dark hours before the local sunrise. And on the Jewish calendar today is 26 Tishri. Daily thought. Inside workers. When you look at a human being, you see his hands working, his feet walking, his mouth talking. You don't see his heart, his brain, his lungs, his kidneys. They work quietly inside, but they are the essential organs of life. The world, too, has hands and feet. Those who are making the news, moving things around, shaking things up. The heart, the inner organs, they are those who are working quietly from the inside. Those unnoticed. Those who do a simple act of kindness with no thought of reward. That's a good thought. I like that thought. Makes you think. All right, there you have it. UFO News is up next.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All right, Dirk, thank you very much. First sighting takes us to Charlotte, North Carolina. So the Charlotte, North Carolina man sees a UFO and he has a video to prove it. Link to the video, the original source. When I took screenshots of the UFO as seen above, I noticed the UFO was triangle shaped. This conforms to the Los Alamos Lab TR-3B craft. The TR-3B has a massive glowing circle in its center. It's not glowing here, but it's on the craft as seen in the below screenshot with altered lighting. This may be a UFO. This could also be the TR-3B test flight. One thing we do know, it's not our plane or helicopter. Okay, It's from Scott C. Waring. Let's see, there's the object. We've seen it in the past. Picture going outside on a Saturday night, looking up into the sky and seeing what appears to be a UFO. That's what happened to Luis Rodriguez last weekend when he was walking his dog outside his apartment in the Arwan Vista complex. Tried to make sense of it, like any other rational person would, Rodriguez said. I thought it was a plane or some sort of aircraft that was just flying really low. After watching it go across the sky, he believes it was a UFO, a spaceship of some sort. NBC Charlotte sent the video to some experts at UNCC. That's what we have. Alright, that's a good shot. Definitely a good shot. Let's get to it again. Okay. That's a very good shot. Alright, let's move from here to the next sighting. This is over Los Angeles, and it showed up on weather radar. Something going on right here. This is on Fox 8 Live. This UFO was caught on radar last Monday, leaving the area of the sonic boom. Weather specialists say it has nothing to do with weather and is unknown at present. It looks like a cloaked UFO came to visit, then began leaving the area. The National Weather Service in Shreveport says they picked up a debris field on radar Monday afternoon. At the same time, many people around the Arc Latex reported hearing a loud boom. Alright, 3-minute news story here. Just explaining what was going on, and let's get to the, there it is right here. Something just kind of shows up. Unexpected. Alright, so there you go. You can check this out. You can watch the video. 3 minutes, 14 seconds. Alright, now we're going to go to Las Vegas. This was on the 17th. The witness said it was only a matter of time before I was able to get much closer to the amazing UFO and all of its traveling companions. I do wish I could have gotten closer, but living in a big city means I'm going to have distractions in the form of cars, trucks, motorcycles. I honestly don't know what this thing is, but I started to believe that it prefers to avoid people if possible. There were a number of times it went lights out because of people in the area. As soon as they left it, it lit right back and continued on its way. What ended up stopping it completely was a car that went even closer to me than the headlights on. The people in the car did turn them off before the object went dark for the final time. I parked my car behind a metal utility box and tried to stay low key. If it knew it was there, it didn't seem to care. Okay, here's a 22-minute video, 22 minutes 57 seconds. So, quite a good capture here for a good length of time. Okay. First recorded UFO sighting in the United States happened in Boston, 1639. In 1639, America's first UFO was sighted over the Charles River in Boston. Lights sped back and forth across the Charles River from Back Bay Ferns to Charleston. Governor John Winthrop made an entry into his journal regarding the strange event. The primary witness was described as a man of good reputation, activity, and estate in Boston. In this year one, James Earl, a sober, discreet man, and 2 others saw a great light in the night at Muddy River. When it stood still, it flamed up and was about 3 yards square. When it ran, it was contracted into a figure of a swine. It ran as swift as an arrow towards Charleston, and so up and down for about 2 or 3 hours. They were come down to the hill to their lighter about a mile, and then it was over. They found themselves carried quite back against the tide to the place they came from. Divers from credible persons saw the same light after about the same place. Muddy River is located in Back Bay Fens, opposite Cambridge, Massachusetts, and diagonally across from Charleston. Back Bay wasn't filled in at that time, and a large area of open water existed in the river that was called the Broad Bay. The distance to Charleston would have been more than 2 miles. All right, very interesting story going back to the early days of America. The early days. Now, last week we talked about this spy plane was returning, the X-37B. Well, it did return. This week, the X-37B returned to Earth after a 2-year mission. Most of humanity believes the craft was used to orbit Earth, but I had to think out of the box. Let's assume that the U.S. military had hundreds of orbiting satellites already. Why would one more or anything new be useful? It wouldn't. Therefore, its purpose was not in the Earth's orbit. Its purpose was out there, beyond Earth. There's a high likelihood that the 37B was used for one of these purposes. It could have been used to search for living organisms that are capable of living in space. Actual animals that swim in space like fish swim in water. They do exist. The Natha Desert incident, which was recorded in infrared, is proof of this. 2, it could be used as a reconnaissance around the Earth's moons or in the dark side, or even on the Mars or other planets and moons. There's a lot of structures on every planet and the moon in the solar system, most of them long since abandoned. It only made sense that the U.S. military would want to commandeer some of these off-world bases to create U.S. off-world bases. According to Gary McKinnon, the USAF already has personnel stationed off-world. And 3 was a mission of communication going from planet to planet, having secret communication with aliens, allowing the U.S. to have access to an alliance with a species that might have millions, maybe even billions of years worth of tech evolution behind them. All right, so those are all good questions. And he says, now I ask you, do you still believe the X-37B was in the Earth's orbit for the full 2 years? Good question, very good question. That's a long time just to be in Earth's orbit. But good possibility something else occurred. And here's a story that connects UFOs and the CIA. 6 important UFO documents from the CIA. As it turns out, the FBI, Department of Defense, Air Force, Army, and the NSA aren't the only government agencies with a history of investigating mysterious UFO activity. Freedom of Information Act liberated documents from the Central Intelligence Agency show how America's stealthiest international agency has had a keen interest in strange aerial phenomena from all around the world. On the CIA's version of the FBI Vault, the less sexually entitled electronic reading room, you can find more than 240 publicly available documents related to unidentified flying objects spanning more than 50 years. The documents are miniature first-hand accounts of events from field agents, as well as summaries of press coverage of strange unexplained events. There's a lot of material to sort through, and no mention of contact with extraterrestrials or crashed alien spaceships. However, the memos do reveal a global post-Roswell paranoia regarding flying saucers, all taking place in the context of a Cold War technological arms race. Here are some of the highlights for more than 5 decades of America's super-secret spy agency's investigations into worldwide UFO phenomena. The CIA understood the benefit of false flags, flying saucers. It says recent information has surfaced that both the U.S. and Soviet governments fancied an interest in faking an alien invasion as a means to induce mass hysteria in the enemy, a la Orson Welles' chaotic War of the Worlds. At least one international interagency communication from the early 50s acknowledges the potential disruptive power of a faked alien invasion. 2. The report of unusual flying objects. The post-Roswell paranoia eventually spread far beyond the U.S. and Soviet borders. We found records of a somewhat odd request that came in the attention to U.S. government from a name-redacted source in the Belgian Congo. 3. Report of unusual flying object citing an attendant scientific activity. It's 1956. Another international incident from the 50s was preserved in a letter from the niece of a name-redacted CIA contact. The contact's niece is written from Soviet-controlled Hungary and seems to illustrate how the flying saucer phenomenon has also taken hold on the other side of the Iron Curtain. 4. Unexplained traveling bright lights seen in the sky, October 27, 1958. As you might imagine, the agency was especially interested in reports of unexplained aerial phenomena over Russian airspace. We found one such account of an odd event witnessed near Leningrad. The report was guided by an undisclosed native English-speaking contact who was told by his guides that a mysterious phenomenon in the skies was probably a flying saucer. And sightings of unusual object. This was from December 16, 1960. We aren't told who this 1960 anonymously yet straightforwardly titled memo was made out to, but it is from the chief of the same government body's Detroit office. It references the Air Force's investigation into previous decades' widespread reports of flying discs and other UFO reports, and also how they may have waned. Okay, here we have photo analysis of UFO photography. It's back to 67. Once again, we are provided with much information on this memo made out to the director of the National Photographic Interpretation Center. The memo presents analysis of a UFO captured in a series of photographs. Okay, so there you go. There's a good deal of UFO information for today. I'll be back. Stay tuned.
Come into our circle, Great Spirit. Fill our souls with peace.
Continue on. So before I do, I had an interesting story over the course of the weekend. I was just kind of flipping through some old programming, looking on the internet for things to watch over the weekend, and I've never watched a series called Archer. You ever watched Archer before? Interesting animated series. Anyway, started watching this, and you know how I've talked about ISIS, and I talked about their connection to the United States. And I didn't know this, but when I flipped on Archer, I realized and found out that Archer works for ISIS, International Secret Intelligence Service. And when I heard that, I just started laughing, especially knowing that this Archer was created in 2009 and began being shown in 2010. That's several years before we started hearing about ISIS in the public. And it just turns out, as I saw in this program, that ISIS is also connected to the CIA. So, very strange coincidence that there is an animated series out there in which there is a United States-based ISIS organization that is an intelligence organization. Anyway, just thought I'd throw that out there, random thoughts. Thought it was very bizarre. Okay, for the last 12 weeks, I have been on Mondays doing a lesson on Kabbalah. And we've gotten to the SEPHIRAH. I think I've given a really good explanation. I've been going through this book, The Mystical Kabbalah. And I'm going to zip through a little bit faster today to get through, I'm going to try to get through all the rest of the SEPHIRAHs. Because if I just go through one at a time every week, it's going to take us a long time to get through all the rest of them. And it's not really all that complicated. I don't want you to think that this is a system that is so overly complicated you can't study it, because that's not the idea. So basically what we have here is we have our symbol, the Tree of Life. The Tree of Life can be described of in a variety of ways. The Builders of the Atom summarizes it in these 10 points or 11 points called the Truth of the Self, pattern on the Trestleboard. Okay? Another way that these are described is in this book called the Sefer Yetzirah. It's called the Book of Formation. It was a very, very old book that describes all of the workings of all of this. We've gone through this here. It says, by means of the 32 wonderful paths of wisdom, of host, Elohim of Israel, living Elohim and eternal King, El Shaddai, merciful and gracious, high and uplifted, who inhabits eternity, exalted his holy name engraved, and he created his universe by 3 signs, by border, by letter, and by number. And it goes on from there describing how God created the whole universe, the whole system, which evolves out of here. And then, of course, we have the KYBALION, which isn't directly talking about the tree of life itself, but it is talking about these 7 points that are very important to understanding all of how energy works. And the same principles here, once we understand these and apply these to our understanding of the tree of life, it really ties in. We live in a mental universe. That means that everything can be affected by the mind. We live in one giant mind, the mind of God. Everything corresponds to itself, so no matter what the dimensions, what frequencies, all of this mental energy corresponds to itself in one way or another. Bigger, smaller version of itself, so on and so forth. Principle of vibration, everything vibrates. Principle of polarity, everything has 2 poles. So example, you have hot and cold. They're both the same energy, they're just different ends of the same energy, different poles. We can slide from hot to cold. If we understand this symbol here and this idea, this imagery, we can imagine how we can affect change in the world by imagining that energy of the poles and imagining that polarity changing. The principle of rhythm tells us everything in the universe has a rhythm to it. And when we understand the rhythm, we get in flow with it, kind of like we're dancing with the universe. Principle of cause and effect, like the law of karma, or this time they were in of justice, Libra, tells us that everything is a cause that affects something else. So all of the effects that we have, everything in the world now is because of something that was caused beforehand that affected a change, which is why we're here now. And the very last principle of gender, that there is male and female in everything. And when the male and female understand the principle of how they work together, everything works smoothly. So we could see that these are very important principles. If we understand these, we can apply them to our understanding of this in all aspects. And last, that brings us to the mystical Kabbalah. And in this book here, it's been going through chapter by chapter talking about the variety aspects of the tree. We understand that this is the supernal triangle, the top one. We understand the 4 worlds, Atzilah, Bria, Yetzirah, and Asaya, or fire, water, air, and earth, and that each of these 4 worlds exist within each one of these SEPHIRAH. So there's 4 levels to each one, and each one of these SEPHIRAH represent the tarot cards: 1s, 2s and kings, 3s and queens, 4s, 5, 6s and knights, 7s, 8s, 9s, 10s and pages or princesses. So you've got fire, water, and air in each one of these classrooms, and then the energy between the 2 of them, which is always a combination of the 2 ends, because remember the law of polarity. So whatever this magician is going on here, these are 2 poles of the magician, and now you go through them to help that process. And now we've also learned through the mystical Kabbalah, what we've been going through is understanding that each one of these SEPHIRAH has various representations in each one of them. One of the representation is an image, where it's situated on the tree of life, particular names of a deity, names of an archangel, names of an angelic choir or group, and name of an element. We also have within them the names of the planets. So as we go through, we're going to look at the third SEPHIRAH, Binah. It's called Binah. It's image is a woman, a matron, at the pillar of the severity in the supernal triangle. The third intelligence is called the sanctifying intelligence, the foundation of primordial wisdom, also called the creator of faith, and its roots are in Amen. It is the path of faith where faith emanates. Titles given to Binah are Amma, the dark sterile mother; Ama, the bright fertile mother; Harissa, the throne; Mariah, the great sea. The god name is Jehovah Elohim. The archangel is Sadkiel. The order of angels is Aurelium, or thrones. Represents the chakra of Saturn, the mundane chakra. The spiritual experience is the vision of sorrow. Represents silence and avarice. And then the correspondence of the tarot cards, okay? And then the colors in the different areas in Atzula crimson, Bria black, Yetzirah dark brown, and Asaya. Alright, so let me move down to the next one here. I'm just going to jump through each one of these because you can go through and you can do this reading on your own to help you understand. All it's doing is basically describing each one of these in more detail. Now we get to Hasad. Right here, mercy. You can see Jupiter was in it there. It looks like that number 4. Okay, so we have in this one, it's called Hasad, is the Hebrew name, means mercy. Is another name. Image is a mighty crowned and throned king in the center of the pillar of mercy. So this here, pillar of mercy here, pillar of severity here. At the head of the pillar of mercy, we have the kings, male. At the head of the pillar of severity are the females, the queens. The fourth path is called the cohesive or receptive intelligence because it contains all of the holy powers, and from it emanate all the spiritual virtues with the most exalted essences. They emanate from one another by virtue of the primordial emanation, which is Kether. It's also called the Gedula, love, majesty. The god name is El, Archangel Zadkiel. Order of angels are the Chasmelim, or the brilliant ones. Jupiter is the planet. The vision of love. And the colors are deep violet, blue, deep purple, fleckled yellow, deep azure combination. Alright, now we're going to move to the next one here, which is the 5th. Okay, so now we're talking about this one right here. Severity. We see the symbol in there right here is Mars. It's a Gabura, strength or severity. The magical image is a mighty warrior and his chariot. It's in the center of the pillar of severity. The 5th path is called the radical intelligence because it resembles unity, unifying itself to Binah, understanding, which emanates from the primordial depths of CHOKMAH, which is wisdom. Din, justice, Pakht, fear. God name is Elohim Gabor. Kamel is the archangel. Seraphim, or fiery serpents, are the host of angels. Mars is the planet. The vision of power is the spiritual experience. Virtue is energy or courage. The opposite, cruelty, destruction. Represents the right arm of the microcosm. Symbols are the pentagon, 5-petaled Tudor rose, sword, spur, scourge, the chain. See the pentagon, see how in society they try to take this to use the symbol of power. The military's center of power is the pentagon. So they're trying to use this energy. The pentagon is a place where war comes out of. This is the severity. This is where war could really accentuate from. So we could see then that those in society, leaders, are using this understanding, or it's a strange coincidence, one of the two. Okay, let's go look at the next one, the 6th one. Okay, the sixth SEPHIRAH here is SEPHIRAH, the beauty, right here in the middle. Symbol there is the sun. Mystical images of a majestic king or a child, a sacrificed god, is in the center of the pillar of equilibrium. The sixth path is called the mediated intelligence because in it are multiplied the influxes of the emanations, for it causes that influence to flow into all reservoirs of the blessings with which they themselves are united. Titles given to SEPHIRAH are Zohar, Anapin, the lesser continents, Melech, the king, Adam, the sun, the man, Tetragrammaton, Aloha Vadath, Raphael is the angel, archangel of the Malachim, the kings, Shemek is the sun, the chakra, it represents the mundane chakra, the planet, the earth, the sun, it's the vision of harmony of things, mysteries of the crucifixion. It can be devotion to great work, or it can be prideful if you flip it the other way. Represents the breast. Symbols are the Laman, the rosy cross, the Calvary cross, the truncated pyramid, the cube, and it's the sixes or the knights. Colors are rose pink, yellow, rich rose salmon, golden amber. It's in the 4 different worlds. Okay, we're going to go from there to the next one. Each one of those, a lot of information there, but it's just going over what was discussed. Now we're going to get into lower SEPHIRAH. Okay, these final lower ones right here. First one here, victory. Venus is the symbol associated with that. There we go. Netzach. Title is Netzach, means victory. Symbol's a beautiful woman. A beautiful naked woman. It's at the foot of the pillar of mercy. The seventh path is called the occult intelligence because it is refulgent splendor of the intellectual virtues which are perceived by the eye of the intellect and of the common contemplations of faith. Firmness. God name is Jehovah Sabaoth, Lord of the hosts. Archangels Hanuel. The order of angels are the Elohim. Planet is Venus. Vision of beauty triumphant. Unselfishness is the virtue, or unchastity and lust are the vice. 4 sevens, and the colors are amber, emerald, bright yellow green, and then olive fleckled with gold. Okay, and we're going to go then to the next one, number 8. 8 right here, Hod. Little symbol there is the symbol of Mercury. It's the 8th. Hod, or glory. The image is a hermaphrodite. It's at the foot of the pillar of severity. The 8th path is called the absolute or perfect intelligence because it is the meaning of the primordial, which has no root by which it can cleave or rest, saving the head and place of Gedula from which it emanates. The god name is Elohim Sabaoth, the god of hosts. The archangel is Michael. Order of the angels is the B'nai Elohim, the sons of God. Its chakra, or the planet, is Mercury. Spiritual experience is the vision of splendor. Truthfulness is the virtue. Falsehood or dishonesty is the vice. We have deep violet purple, orange, russet red, and yellow black are the colors. Okay, tarot card of 8s. And we're going to go into number 9. Yesod. Now we're right here. So we have the moon. Yesod is the foundation. We have a beautiful naked man, very strong. Situation of the tree is towards the base of the pillar of equilibrium. The 9th path is called the pure intelligence because it purifies the emanations. It proves and corrects the designing of their presentations and disposes the unity with which they are designed without diminution or division. God name is Shaddai El Kai, the Almighty Lord God. The archangel is Gabriel. The cherubim are the angels, the strong, represents the moon, division of the machinery of the universe. Independence or idleness are the virtues and the vices. The colors, indigo, violet, dark purple, and then citrine, as we move down the four worlds, Atzilah, Bria, Yetzirah, and Asaya. And the last of the worlds, the last of the SEPHIRAH, is SEPHIRAH number 10. It's called the Malkuth, the bottom one right here. This one we can see is divided into 4 different groupings. Malkuth is the kingdom. The image is a young woman crowned and throned at the base of the pillar of equilibrium. 10th path is called the resplendent intelligence because it is exalted above every head and sits upon the throne of Bina. It illuminates the splendors of all the lights and causes an influence to emanate from the prior prince of continences, the angel of Cathar. Titles are the gate of death, the gate of the shadow of death, the gate of tears, the gate of justice, the gate of prayer, the gate of the daughter of the mighty ones, the gate of the Garden of Eden, the inferior mother, Malkath, the queen, Kaleb, the bride, the virgin. The god names are Adonai Melech, or Adonai Haaretz. Sandalphon is the angel. The Ashim, or souls of fire, are the choir of angels, represents the sphere of the elements. The spiritual experience is the vision of the holy garden angel. Virtue is discrimination. Vice is avarice and inertia. Corresponds to the feet. The colors in Atzilah are yellow, Bria, citrine, olive, russet, and black. Yetzirah, citrine, olive, russet, black, fleckled with gold, and in Asaya, black, rayed with yellow. Alright, so that gives us a summary of all of these. I'm going to take one more time. Next week we're going to wrap it all up, and in 14 sessions we will have gone through, and you will have a tremendous amount of information there. The rest then is up to you to continue on with the learning, because that's the way the process works. That's how it works. Alright, moving on. So, over this weekend, Dolores Cannon passed on. So, it's very sad for the planet. She was a bright light here for all of us. But we are very fortunate to have had her for the time that we had, and we were very fortunate that she left behind a number of books, information, so that we can learn, continue to learn from what it is that she wanted to teach. And we know from her work that she's out there. She's just changed the appearance that she has. So while there's a sadness that she has passed on, there's also the happiness in knowing that she's moved on to the next phase where she needs to be to help all of us, and that she's still out there. So here's an article from In5D, a little tribute to Dolores. Metaphysical author, speaker, and past life regression hypnotherapist Dolores Cannon passed away this morning, Saturday, from unknown causes at the age of 83. This was from the Facebook post. It is with a heavy heart that we let you know Dolores passed away this morning. To this end, she was the Dolores that we all know and love, and we want you to know that she appreciated very much the loving energy and prayers you sent her way these last few weeks. She was with all of her family this morning and left surrounded by their and your love. Her heart will remain connected to us all. And as you go down here, you could read a number of these posts that were there. She was in the hospital for a short period of time, had an accident, but came out of the hospital and then, for some reason, passed on. There's a few quotes. While the body sleeps, our soul or spirit is having many adventures. It may travel to the spirit realm to meet with masters, teachers, and guides, to obtain advice or to learn lessons. It may also travel to other parts of our world or even venture onward to other worlds and dimensions. Any person might be the one who would supply information to start another exciting journey. There is no way to tell, and I never know what I am looking for until I find it. These are normal everyday people with no outward clues to their adventures. Their souls have experienced in other lives and other times. It is interesting that many people I've worked with in the last few years regress to lifetimes where they were light beings in a state of bliss. They all volunteered to come here and help the earth at this time, but I had no idea how difficult it would be once they were in a body. And some of the big work that Dolores really put forward was this whole idea. Here it says Dolores was the author of 22 books based on her past life regression hypnotherapies, which revealed many fascinating revelations about why things happened in the past and what we can expect in the future. Some of my favorite books include the entire convoluted series where she talks a lot about 5D Earth. In one of her more fascinating conversations with them, Dolores talks about volunteer souls who incarnated on this planet because they heard the call of the Earth that was in trouble. In 3 waves of volunteers in the New Earth, Dolores elaborates on the 3 different classes of souls incarnating the Earth. The first wave, now in their late 40s and early 60s, these volunteers are disturbed by the violence, anger, and hate they experience on the Earth. They have the hardest time adjusting to life as humans, and many of them try to commit suicide. The second wave, now in their late 20s and 30s, are more comfortable in the bodies and are said to be beacons or channels of energy who can affect others just by being near them. The mission of just sharing their energy with others means they don't have to do anything, but just be. And the third wave are the new children, many of whom are now teenagers, having their knowledge needed to exist on the planet after the dimensional shift and the transformation takes place. Their DNA is more advanced, and the greatest challenge they face is being misunderstood by humans as having a condition of ADHD that needs to be medicated. And then we have down here some more information, but there you go. Nice little tribute, some interviews. And go over the course of this week, I'll probably bring some more Dolores' info and talk about it. But she left us a lot. She left us a lot of information, a lot of video, a lot of audio, a lot of books. So we can continue learning, and we know that she's out there. So Dolores, enjoy your journey. Enjoy the next part. You've certainly written a lot about what it is that we were going to experience, and now that you are firsthand having that experience. So I hope that it's a wonderful journey and that you find a way to communicate back to us what it is that you are experiencing out there. All right? Lots of love out to Dolores as she continues on her journey. Here's our message for today. This comes to us from Hilarion.
October 19th to 26th, 2014, by Marlene Swetleshoff.
Hilarion.
Beloved ones, we call upon all light workers in the world to hold the vision high of the new earth made manifest. We ask that you discipline yourselves to not be distracted or sidetracked from your purpose by the created illusions that beset the world during these times. You all have ability to discern what is real and true and to create what you desire to experience, and this is where your attention should be focused. Peace is a reality if you can bring this into your own experience. From this, it flows outward into the world around you and has an exponential effect on everyone and everything. The new epoch is being created by your adherence to the highest ideals that you can envision and hold as your focus. The key here is to identify with your divine origins on a daily basis and act as the daughter or son of the divine. One does not have to be a magician. One has only to believe in their own goodness and integrity and uphold it. Leave others to choose their own way. It is by personal example that the way-showers inspire and uplift their brethren. It becomes necessary to uphold the higher virtues and qualities of conduct now. Others around you will see, sense or feel these emanate from within you. They then have the human templates and examples of the divine human that they can become inspired by and emulate in their own lives. It is time to let your light shine, to let your goodness and purity of heart shine, to let your deep love of the Creator shine. Decree daily the light that you are and do not falter in this practice. It is necessary to add this field of protection around you as a shield or sphere of light. Spend as much time as you can on activities of light in the form of mantras, prayers, invocations, and decrees in order to constantly increase and maintain your higher vibration. Spend time in nature to connect and ground yourselves into the earth and let the cosmic energy flow through you in balance and harmony. Keep the activities of your life as simple and uncomplicated as possible, for this helps you to remember your reason for being here on earth during these times. Daily communion with the divine is essential. By this we mean that time spent in solitude and silence is very important to help with the integration of the higher energies and downloads that are now occurring. Do everything that you know that helps keep you in equilibrium and stability, so that you do not lose your way. Focus on creating the feeling and state of joy, for this state is a higher vibration that one can easily create by focused intention. There are many experiences that each of you had in the past that can be tapped into in order to bring this state to you in your moment of now. Make a list each morning of all that you are grateful for and again before your bedtime. Do this daily, as this practice brings more than you can conceive to you. If you are experiencing challenges and difficulties, you must train yourselves to retain these practices of giving gratitude until they become second nature to you. As energy alchemists, you turn all that comes into your experience into a higher and lighter energy. You already do this each day, and it only needs your conscious awareness of it in order to give it more power. Again, we remind you of the need for adequate hydration by drinking at least 8 glasses of water daily. The increased energy downloads may make you feel tired and depressed. You can assist your endocrine system with supplements such as the herb maca, which is a natural way to regulate and support endocrine health, for it regulates metabolism, energy levels, and helps the glands to produce the vital hormones that create a sense of health and well-being. Eliminating processed foods and replacing with raw and unprocessed foods as much as possible can help, as well as learning relaxation and deep breathing techniques. Exercise for at least half an hour each day, even if you must break that time up into 10 minutes, 3 times per day. Moving your body parts are essential to keep the energy downloads moving through you. 1 hour of sleep before midnight is equal to 2 hours of sleep after midnight, and your adrenal glands are rejuvenated by this practice. These are some of the ways to give practical assistance to your physical body during these times. Until next week. I am Hilarion.
That's a good message with some really good practical information. All right, brings us to our meditation for today. So close your eyes. Take a deep breath and exhale. Take another deep breath and exhale again. And again, another deep breath. Hold it. Exhale. And just feel this relaxing energy flowing through your body as you continue to breathe in and out. Feel all of your chakras activated. Top of the head, crown chakra, violet, white light coming down where it turns violet, and then it comes down and indigo at the third eye, blue at the throat, green at the heart, yellow at the solar plexus, orange at the belly button, and red at the root chakra, and the light continues on into the ground. Just imagine yourself connected energetically. Imagine the world around you and the energies around you. Feel all that is alive in the world and all that is beyond the sense of vision. Begin to experience and feel all those who have passed on in their wisdom as it still exists here on this planet. And as you think about what is left behind, you realize death is not exist, for they are still alive in their words, in their wisdom. And so we realize and understand that as we leave our words in the world on a daily basis, our life continues on. Because those words go out and they affect others in their lives. And so on and so on. So just imagine putting out good vibes into the world so that the things you want to create are good. Let's imagine looking at the world and seeing people who are confused and fearful by all that they are hearing on the televisions and in the news and from the leaders who are supposed to be helping. And as you see this, just send love and light and just tell them everything is going to be okay. And as you send these words of comfort and these energies of comfort into the world, you find that people become more relaxed. They begin to see through the illusion. And pretty soon, all people of the planet see through the illusions and realize that there is only love. So let's just imagine ourselves going through the world today, sending out love, sending out light. Nothing more than that. As we observe all that is taking place. And let's bring our conscious mind back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3, coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1, coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. Take another deep breath. Exhale, and open your eyes. That's it, my friends. That's the show for today. Thank you very much for being here. We have a full week ahead of us. I'll be back talking more about those things tomorrow. We have an upcoming eclipse, so we'll get to that. But continue on with your study of Kabbalah. Continue on with reading through the books and the information. I'm going to wrap it all up next week. So if you have any questions or anything, send me those questions. firstcontactradio@yahoo.com is the place where you can reach me. Also at Facebook. That's it. I'll be back tomorrow. Love ya. Keep loving each other. Peace. I'm out of here.